It's upside down. Go, go.
This is Annie Anatomical. She is dead. The person next to her is her brother, Tom Anatomical. Annie and Tom Anatomical are always in anatomical position. Tom was dropped as a baby, so all of his organs and all of his body cavities, including the dorsal cavity, which has the cranial cavity and spinal cavity, abdominal cavity, pelvic cavity, and thoracic cavity, were replaced. Since all of his organs are gone, he is a robot. Tom desperately wants to be human, so he studied the human body. Tom always stands in anatomical position because he thinks it makes him more human. Annie is also always in anatomical position, but that's because she has a genetic disorder. Annie and Tom never leave anatomical position. In their sleep, Annie and Tom Anatomical rest in anatomical position with their frontal plane parallel to the wall. Annie sleeps with the posterior or dorsal part of her body facing the wall. Tom sleeps with the anterior or ventral part of his body facing the wall as well. When they brush their teeth, their hands, which are inferior to their teeth, stay in anatomical position. They just wait for their teeth, which are superior to their hands, to be brushed. They even stay in anatomical position when they eat. One morning, Annie went out for a walk. Tom followed her because he wanted to observe her and use her as a model for human behavior. She isn't a good model. Annie goes for her walk. She decides to run instead and bumps into a traveler. The traveler gets angry and starts cussing, calling Annie a scallywag, and other words we shall not say. Then they begin to quarrel. As the traveler and Annie get ready to fight, the traveler warms up their attacks and provokes Annie by slashing at her planes. They aim for her transverse plane and sagittal plane with their cane. Next, the traveler aims towards her stomach, which is medial. Annie tries to attack the traveler with her hand, which is distal to her shoulder. However, her attack fails, and her thumb, which is the most lateral point of her body, is hit instead. In retaliation, the traveler smacks her on a proximal point of her body, her shoulder. The traveler pokes Annie in her abdominal quadrants and abdominal or pelvic regions. In rapid succession, they stab Annie in her right upper quadrant, right lower quadrant, left upper quadrant, and left lower quadrant. This is followed by attacks on the epigastric, umbilical, hypogastric, hypochondriac, lumbar, and iliac regions. In an effort to end the fight, the traveler whacks Annie in the region. Annie falls onto her caudal region onto the ground. Annie is dead. Tom approaches Annie. He looks on in horror, with as much emotion as he can for a robot, at Annie's body. There's a chalk line around her. Tom drew that. Tom is sad. Tom is not glad. Annie is dead, which is why he is crying. He is crying because that was what he read he was supposed to do. Goodness. Using my extensive knowledge of directional terms, I know that she has lacerations on her skin, which is superficial to her internal organs. Her organs, which are deep to her ribcage, are bruised from the multiple blows. Who could have possibly done this? Tom said. And that is the true question of the story. Who done it? The motives of the crime may always be unclear, but at least we know the perpetrator. This is Abu, the mastermind of the entire ordeal. He hid in the shadows as his henchmen committed his crime for him. Why did he do this? The world will never know.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. You miss your old